And we're back. I'm giving my computer a little bit of time to load up the game. There's a couple of mods installed, so it'll take a moment for it to think. But while it's doing that, let me see if I can get this set up within a reasonable amount of time. I'm still learning the ins and outs of OBS, so it is still quite a bit of a mystery to me. But I wanted to show my initial design for the city that I've been creating. I guess I'll go back and explain. Ever since I played this game back in 2004, not City Skyline, but Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, in the back of my head, sort of this alternate world that the game could take place in started to form. Like, you know, if this game took place in a different setting, what would it look like? Which I do all the time when I play games. I just like to kind of Frankenstein the environments together in my head. But with this game in particular, it had such a textured ambiance and environment. I don't know. It really stuck in my head. But after many, many, many years, that environment has sort of shifted and grown into a full city that I have now actually put onto paper, so to speak. Failing with my words, but I'm excited to show off what I've got. First and foremost, I want to show you guys the original picture I used to sort of guide myself here. You'll see I put a lot of potential locations that would be in each district of the city. I knew right off the bat I wanted it to be an island. That way it could just be a contained story. And that's just easier for me as a dungeon master of sorts. But I wanted it to be diverse enough to have, you know, interesting encounters and places that the characters would want to hang out. So, I've got lots of, besides each district, I've got different locations that would appear. I don't think I've actually turned this into any game mechanics. This is all just conceptual. In City Skyline, trying to determine individual buildings to be different, you know, companies and businesses is a little difficult. And honestly, I like the randomness of it. But let's go ahead and show that off. The game's finally loaded. Oh, okay. Well, my computer is lagging like crazy, but let's hope it doesn't die. Yay! I believe you can do it. Come on. Oh, we have visuals. We have movement. Nothing's on fire. I don't see any smoke. Yeah, I mean, this is Skylines 1. I have not bought Skylines 2. I know there was like some controversy. There's always some controversy with games, but you know what? I'm not even going to comment on it because I don't feel qualified enough to speak about it. But I just haven't bought the sequel because I haven't bought it yet. This is just easier for me to play because I already have it in my library. But welcome to Soport. This is my tiny little city that I've made for my setting. Nothing really fancy. The goal for the city was to actually make it self-sufficient. Unfortunately, as you can probably see, I am losing money on this town and people apparently, which is weird. It's been going up lately. But I'm gonna hit play and let it run. There's no sound right now, which I'm gonna fix, but the music for this game is just blown the hell out, so I'm actually gonna turn it off. As much as I like the music, it is mixed so bizarrely that like it'll start off really soft and quiet and then go into this big bombastic and then let me actually activate it. There we go. And then hell, why don't I just play some chill hop in the background? I'll put it on that. Oh, that mix I like. Yeah. Yeah. That thing in the place with the that you can enjoy looking at my city operate as I get this working. Oh, I should probably move my little fella too. He's probably fine. Come on, wake up. My computer is too beefy to be having this much of a problem. I'm a little concerned. Actually, you know what? It's probably my memory. Memory from my streams has been filling up my computer. I should invest in some external storage. That's on me. Oh, I could also use some cloud. I could use Amazon. I've already got an account. Okay. I'm going to add a source from music so that we can listen to our cool jams as we work on our town, our city. This is our city. This is the network city, I guess. This is, my campaign setting, but it can belong to all of us. Let's see. Uh, how do I get it to actually capture the audio? Come on, you can do it. Let's see, maybe I can change the output. Right. Okay, yeah, do audio output. And then... Oh, you know what? I know what to do. I'll just steal it from the other scene. Sorry, this is taking so long. I've scrolled off of my island. Here we go. I think this should do it. There we go. Now we have something at least to listen to. This is Soaport. So I've got it divided into like a commercial district, which includes a lot of low density commercial areas, along with some high density mixed in with apartments. No office buildings. Most of those are downtown, but I've also got a mall back here with lots of parking. And then a residential area in the commercial area with lots of other high density urban areas. A high school, more parking, parking lot, parking structure, lots of parking. Parking was a big thing in this town. Of course, here you've got the shore. A couple of little commercial buildings. I'm like restaurants and shops that are right here on the beachfront. And I originally had the port coming into this town over here, but I'm gonna end up putting a lighthouse. There used to be a movie theater right here on this front row, but it ended up getting abandoned and deleted. I'm sad. I should have made a historical building, which lets you keep the model, but oh well. There's a clinic. The firehouse. For the commercial area. Hey, why don't we take a ride and see if we can't pick out any landmarks? Oh, no, you're parking. Oh, there we go. Alright, now we're heading over into the industrial district. The Brine Bowl. I didn't really have, outside of the general shape of the roads, I didn't have an idea of how I wanted to lay out the buildings beyond what would look cool from a skyline perspective. But I'd like to think that it came out to something cool. Like on the opposite side of the buildings to our right is where the cargo ships come in. And in fact, it looks like we're about to go pick up some cargo. But just back here, we've got our cargo. Ah, nice. Our cargo ship drop-off place. Harbor. Oh, so many abandoned buildings. That's okay. Abandoned buildings are perfect places for vampires to hang out. I'm going to, at some point, go back and name all the roads just because I'm that meticulous. But something I had fun doing was I was experimenting with these. These are actually canal, like, water locks tunnels. Like, ships are supposed to sit in here for the water to rise and lower from them to go through a lock. But I ended up using them as, like, a sewage water way. Like, there's the actual sewage, and it goes right out into the river. And here's the water collection. And I've got a tiny water generator right here just so it's pushing the water out and, you know, the sewage doesn't back up. And this originally had water, but has evaporated? Question mark. But I like how it kind of divides this section of the industrial area. I don't know, it just looks cool. We go back to the commercial district. Let's see if we can't catch a car going downtown. Here we go. We're going downtown. Downtown is a lot of high-density commercial buildings, some office buildings, and lots of parks. It seemed necessary for the happiness of the town. Like I said, I wanted the town to make sense. You know, I wanted this to be a location that was fun to think about because it made sense to think about. This is the backside of the downtown area. Yeah. Right over here is the residential area. The Hearthstone Hills. I might change the name. It's a little cheesy, but whatever. Uh-oh. What is that? You can't hide from me. What is that? It's a nameplate. It's supposed to be the name of the area. The Blackwood Preserve. I think that might have been a default one. But right, so connecting from both the industrial district and the downtown district is a residential area. And you've got 4 distinct neighborhoods, each with like 2, I think, ways to access it. Yeah, 2 entrances. I really like how this turned out. Right here is just a swath of commercial buildings that I imagine most of the apartment complexes here will use. But it's also nice that they're in proximity, so like a grocer or a barber shop or something like that's a daily, not a daily, but useful services that are nice to have close to residential buildings. High school, parking lot, and a nice beach area. Oops. But there's 4 distinct neighborhoods. There's this one over here, this tiny one in the circle, and this neighborhood I guess also would count as this. Then these streets, and then these streets. Just having fun. I was gonna stick with just these 3, but it kind of created this really weird artificial right angle I wanted there to be a wilderness area so that within the context of the vampire campaign, you would have a rural area to run around. If you're like a Brujah or a gangrel, not a Brujah, but like a gang, I don't know, a Brujah or a gangrel who needed that space to be wild, or just for there to be that setting in case there needs to be some intrigue in a forest area. And it was going to be larger with more foresty trails and like a cabin area that I'm still probably going to build with props. But I like how this turned out. I ended up making another residential neighborhood, and I love it. I even added a university. This is actually a secondary university. This is sort of like the community college. The main university is here, on the other side of this river. There's a library right next to the boardwalk. This looks a little janky, and I think I'm still trying to figure out how I want this to look, especially since these are mods. But I'm trying to create like a harbor boardwalk, and I'll eventually have mods that what am I trying to say? Carnival rides, like amusement park rides, Ferris wheels and whatnot. Here is the People Harbor, which I put over here since it seemed, I don't know, it was a nice yin to this yang, where the cargo harbor was on this side, away from all of the action, whereas the harbor for this part of the island is on this side, where it's close to the action. I don't know. Oh, airplane sound effects. This is Soport. The name itself, Soport, S-O-P-O-R-T, comes from sopor, which is, you know, to sleep, to doze, to nap. It's a dream island. The lore, I guess you could say, of this island would be that it was at one point, a very prominent tourist attraction. You know, like a vacation island. Not like a resort, but an island you would go to for a week to hang out, like, and shop and be in a nice city, like going to New York for a week or something. But unfortunately, years have gone by, it's not as popular, you know, it becomes a bit worn down, and certain vampiric political intrigues draw interest from the mainland vampires, and there's an inciting incident that draws the vampires out here to investigate what's going on. I don't want to say too much, because I think I might end up streaming that campaign if I feel confident enough in it. I've put a lot of work towards it, and it would be fun. But man, I do love world building. I love mathing out everything spatially. Like, I think I've gotten traffic down pretty well. The only major sources of traffic are in places you'd expect them, like particularly around here in the ports when there's people coming in. And I don't know if there's a lot I can do about that. It's maintained, like it's not affecting the other roads. And I'm noticing now that another choke point is right here in front of the... Oh, right. Another place I really like. This historical building I've got, the Oppression Office. It looks really, really cool. And I kind of made it a centerpiece of the town. But I did make this a tinier road, and there seems to be more traffic in this area than I would have expected. In fact, why don't I upgrade this to a larger road? I'll make it a 2-lane, yeah. Can I do a 2-lane with a median? That's a problem. Oh, there we go. Small 4-lane road. Okay, well, no more trees in the median, but that should help traffic a little bit. I don't know if I like that, how it looks, though. Well, let's see if that even did anything. There's still some congestion. It might just be the nature of these major intersections that they're gonna get crowded. Although they can't seem to drive worth shit. You know what? Yeah, no, for the sake of it looking nice, I'm going back to those tree-lined roads. There. You guys are just gonna have to suck it. That's what it's like living in the city. Speaking of which, let's get another view. I'm at that point now where most of everything that I want to do with the city is done, besides some minor tweaking for visual aesthetics. So I just like to soak it in. I've always been a fan of world-building games. Like, in Age of Empires, in Age of Mythology especially, most of the time I spent in the game was in the create a scenario mode, where you could build cities and, like, have scripted events happen. More so in Age of Mythology than Age of Empires, but I always just had fun creating the cities themselves. And, like, Animal Crossing, Lord knows, I probably have, like, 300 plus hours put into New Horizons alone. Fucking hell, I probably played more Happy Home Designer than any of the Animal Crossings, the DS game. I don't know. I really enjoy playing with space. Where are you heading, buddy? Harvest Moon was another game I got really into, although Rune Factory I think caught my interest more. Harvest Moon DS was my favorite, but all the Rune Factories I love. You know a game I've not played, surprisingly? You know what? I've not played in a long, long time and not played a lot of is SimCity. Yeah, I've played the Sim games, but I've never played SimCity or any of the, like, SimCity 2000s. Which I know this game is inspired by. It's interesting because this game came out during a time where a lot of publishers just were not providing the experience we wanted out of these games. Like The Sims, the Roller Coaster Tycoon. A lot of the fan community was like, you know what, fine, I'll do it myself. And so we have Roller Coaster Planet now, I think it's called. We've got City Skyline. I don't know if there was ever a Sims copy. Can't think of one off the top of my head, but this was basically a fine, I'll do it myself game. And as a result, it's very modder friendly, which I love. You know, I kind of like this area. This is over by the People Harbor. I kind of want to decorate this more. I want to strike a balance in this. A balance between looking cool and also functioning. I'm getting some gas. Nice. I also played a lot with terrain. Oh, that's... Why is that like that? Interesting. Very interesting. Huh. But I had fun with a lot of these side roads, and I've experimented with sidewalks. Like, I've got a couple of them placed around. There's still a lot I want to do. Here's a library. This is a... a monument. Okay. Because I wanted to raise the skyline of the city. There's not a lot of tall buildings, like tall buildings. But I think the skyline looks pretty cool. I just don't have a lot of unique shapes on it, besides that one skyscraper. Once I get the carousel and other amusement park oddities on the boardwalk, I think it will have a better, more identifiable skyline. But even now, I don't know. I'm really digging the general shape. Like, it just looks like a miniature city on an island, and that's exactly what I wanted out of this. I would absolutely want to live on this island. And I would hope that as a vampire it would also be, you know, this is a population of 8,000. I'm imagining that by the time of the tabletop campaign, it's probably more like 5,000, which is still a lot of people. But yeah, it's supposed to be a lot more run down in the setting of the campaign. I guess you could sort of see this as its heyday. Yeah, let's see what the cinematic camera does. My only problem with the cinematic camera is that it points you down so much. It feels like I'm bending my neck. Kind of just want to like tilt the camera just slightly up. Oh, so I did raise the water level of this area and ended up drowning the original bridge that led in as the traffic point. The only way people can get to my island is through boat, which is on purpose. I did have an airport at one point, but I don't know. Maybe I'll reintroduce an airport. I don't know how that would work. Maybe a separate island. These sorts of strategy games are interesting, or sim games are interesting, in that they're kind of eternal. The only goals are the ones you set for yourself. Like in this game, there are milestones you can reach to unlock certain buildings, but it's more like a tutorial, and you can turn it off. But you know, you're trying to balance a city that can feed itself. Well, not even feed itself, but that can sustain itself. And with any city, there are just things that you overlook and things that you will learn as you play from playthrough to playthrough. Here's another shot of some drowned passengers. It's got an infinite skill ceiling is what I'm trying to say. I love games with infinite skill ceilings. And I mean, that's why I like League of Legends, despite what everybody says about it. It's a genuinely fascinating game because you can dive so deep and still not hit the bottom, and fly high enough and not hit a ceiling. Same with games like these. There's always something to learn, always a new configuration of buildings that optimizes traffic, and mods will introduce like new buildings that will offer you different playstyles. There's another shop overlapping the street. What's up with that? Okay, this with the chill hop music is really doing it for me. Yeah, I've interspersed commercial areas in with these residential spots to show, like, you know, like little strip malls and, you know, the odd occasional family restaurant or convenience store. Convenience is a big factor in this town. That's why I would love to live here. In my mind, there are like a bajillion game stores and hobby shops and, you know, 10 million Waffle Houses. Oh, I bet there's a Waffle House mod. God, I miss Waffle House so much. There's nothing like pancakes, bacon, and eggs, and a strong cup of coffee. In fact, I used to deliver pizzas, and closing time would be around midnight. So at midnight, I'd head over to one of the only places open, which was a Waffle House. And it happened enough times that by the time I parked my car, played around with my phone a little bit, checked social media, and got inside, I had a cup of fresh coffee on the table with my bacon patty melt on the oven, or on the grill. Like, they did not even have to ask me. They knew what I wanted. I was a regular. And I gotta tell you, that feeling is amazing. It's one of the things I love about growing older on this planet, is that eventually I'll get to the point where I'll just be known by people. I'll walk in, it's like, the Rain's usual. It's honestly why I love Waffle Houses and Denny's and IHOPs. Places like that, places that offer those kind of comfort foods, are beacons of peace and serenity in a world that can be boiling with chaos. You can have a trucker, a priest, a janitor, a businessman, a politician, a waitress, all dining at the same place, drinking and eating the same things, listening to the same to the same 90s rock. But it's a modern day watering hole. Anybody and everybody can go and feel welcome there, and it's just like stories exist there. What would it be like to be a fly, one of the many flies on those walls, and just peek into those lives? I still have to wonder, in which district would I live? Where I live currently could be considered probably somewhere around here, in terms of relative closeness to the downtown area of my particular city. Not in any particular geographical. Nice try, though. But I wouldn't mind living farther out from the city, if the city isn't that far. See, living near the commercial area would be cool, because then I could just walk out. I've got a friend who lives in a place that would basically be like right here. And they can go into the city and be like close to all the shopping and just walk home from the mall and from the shops. It's amazing. Living over here would be nice. I've lived for so long without the prospect of owning a house that I don't even know if I want one, but having one that's this close to the water would be cool, and this close to the downtown. It's just, in my mind, given its proximity to the city, and given the rundown state of this area in the future that I propose for the setting, I think this might end up being a little more slummy, whereas this residential area will be a lot more nice and family friendly. There we go, that's much better. A lot easier on the eyes. I put the clinic definitely close to the water, at least in this district. I think the main hospital, yeah, the main hospital is actually connected to the city hall, to these parking lots. So there's City Hall, here's the hospital. And you get a wonderful view of the industrial area. But no, you get a nice view of the river. And I specifically made it so that when you come in this way, actually, no matter which way you come in, you get a nice view of the town, the city hall. So whether you're coming in through the bridge, you can see a nice view. And even when you're coming in from Shoreline, you can still see it in the distance. Oh, I'm noticing that's actually not capturing my cursor. Weird. It's a game-specific cursor. I don't know why it wouldn't pick up, but let me just fix that. I think that might be a OBS setting. If the camera's being weird, it's because I'm actually moving against. There we go. Because my mouse is technically off screen, it's scrolling to the right. There it is. Weird. I originally had the People Harbor over here, and that was the original, like, some of the first mental images I had of the city were the players coming in on a harbor that was essentially a retaining wall, a pathway pressed up against a retaining wall that led up to the actual island level. So you wouldn't really have a visual of the city until you got up to that level. And it was meant to be sort of a transitionary liminal area. And it was supposed to wrap around the edge of the island, and there would be piers that stuck out with personal boats. It's a very strong visual in my head, and I unfortunately I'm not able to recreate it in this game yet. I'm trying to. You can see me attempting to, but I don't know. It's hard to describe when it's so cemented in my head, but it was very striking to me, at least. At some point, I'd like to recreate it. I'm definitely going to be doing more with the preserve area. I want to add like some cabins. Make it a little... I might make this a little bigger, just so that... I don't know. It doesn't seem like a large enough area for a wilderness setting. Because, you know, of the 5,000 people that will be living here, even if only like 100 of them are vampires, they need space. A lot of space. I guess that's the other thing I need to do is I'm going to go through these downtown areas and start deleting buildings and replacing them with specific like not movie theaters, but theatrical theaters, like Broadway theaters. Places that could be used as Elysiums or vampire hangout spots. I don't actually know. I mean, the City Hall seems like an obvious seat of power for a vampire, but I still haven't really concocted the politics of the city. Like, obviously, so the reason the characters would be traveling to this location in the first place. Let me Sunday drive while I'm explaining this. But the reason the players would be coming to this location would be because the Camarilla have somewhat forcibly had them come out to this island because there are rumors of a potential clique of vampires that are going to try and overthrow the powers of the Camarilla on the mainland. And you've got to connect with the Camarilla branch here. God, you guys can't drive. You're supposed to connect with the Camarilla branch here first, get a feel of the situation, and then go from there. So the Camarilla do have a hold here in Soport, but it's a little frayed. For the necessity of facilitating conflict. And there'll be other factions as well, you know. Probably like a mad occult, not a human cult, different vampire societies. I don't know. I've thought a lot about the location, and And I guess not a lot about the societies themselves, which might come back to bite me in the ass, but we'll see. What a wonderful view of the backside of this truck. You know, nah, that's a spoiler. That's like a deep lore spoiler for the setting that I wouldn't want to spoil unless it was within the context of the actual campaign. So, there's a lot I do have planned for this setting that I don't want to spoil. I'm just thinking in my head what the actual logistics of running that campaign would look like. But I definitely have people who would be interested in playing. And maybe I'll have some viewer involvement. The world of Vampire is a crazy place. Who knows what supernatural elements I could include to let viewers mess with the state of the world. I don't plan on streaming this for too much longer. I just wanted to show off my work. I might have a progress update in the future. But man, I would love to be here. Oh my god. You guys are gonna crash. It's a good thing I have so many hospitals. Where are you driving to? Where are we going? Oh, the crematorium. Nice. Let's see. Ooh, looks like you're going back to load up. Where are you headed? Oh. Back to the facility. I'm really proud of this city. I'll have to drop a meteor on it at some point. I love watching the ships come in and then seeing the lines of ants come out. Let's follow the blue one. Okay, we're heading south in the Brine Bowl. Now we're gonna go west towards the commercial district. Oh, and then south again. Going back? Oh, I see. Gotta stop off at the warehouse. Okay. Dude, in front of a police car? Alright, we're heading back west. Oh, and we're going into the Brine Bowl itself. we're going all over the place. Okay, so we're back where we started. We're going back to the warehouse. No? I think we're going back to the cargo harbor. Nice. Let's see what's going on. Ooh, let me hop on. Oh, yeah. Someone leaving here. So this is what people see when they're coming into town. And we're facing east. Now we're heading southbound. Ooh, we're heading to the commercial district. Library's over there to the right. We are. Gonna continue southbound. And oh, I guess we stopped in at one of these commercial buildings. That's nice. Ah, I just love seeing them out and about. I don't think I've ever watched a walking person. What's that like? This is cool. Oh, that building is sticking out. What is up with that? That's so weird. I'm okay. As someone who is desperate for more parking in their city, I made parking a big priority. Actually, this is a remnant from when there used to be a harbor over here. Actually, it was another parking lot too, but I left it here just because I like it. Here's another high school. I think that's gonna be our stream for tonight. I got to play some vampires. It was fun in of itself, but I also got to show off some of my work, which I'm happy about. I think next stream I might be talking a little bit more about the tabletop campaign, but I don't know, there's some changes coming up in my life that might change the hours that I'm streaming at, which might be better for, viewership, since probably more hours earlier in the day instead of, middle of the night, middle of the morning. But, it's just because this is how my schedule's been. But, as always, I'm going to be uploading these on YouTube, and the VODs will stay on Twitch for a while. Ultimately, I want to try and make this I don't want to make the act of trying to watch my stream stressful, so... The more convenient it is for y'all, the better it is for me. But I hope y'all enjoyed. I'll let the music play us out. Man, I could leave this on for hours. I could watch this forever. It's fun sitting up here in the clouds, watching the little people go by. Alright, I gotta go. Otherwise, I will be here for many, many more hours, but y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. Stay good, my faithful.